So the first PlayStation State of Play for 2024 has come and gone, and honestly, wow. Now, I understand that there's always going to be those varying opinions online, and negativity often wins on the internet. Who would have guessed? But, speaking for myself, this showcase did exactly what I wanted. I've seen so many fans ask what PlayStation has planned for 2024. And while they don't have a lot of first-party games this year per se, they do have a lot of big partnerships. They have a lot of great-looking multi-platform games as well, and that's what they really showcased in this event. Games that are coming to their platform in the near future, including some really big-time, exciting exclusives. And that's another thing for me. I don't really know where this narrative is coming from that third-party exclusives don't matter. They absolutely do. I don't know. That's a whole weird, bizarre narrative that's been going around online for a while. But, again, for me, I just want to play fun games. And I think most people kind of feel that way as well. So if Sony and Xbox secures a big-time partnership, more power to them. And Sony, they really have leaned into that this year to fill out some of their gaps, and I think that they've done exactly that. I look at their lineup of games and exclusives, and I think there's a lot to be excited about. So you know what? Let's just go and jump right into this. They opened up the show with Helldivers 2. It is set to release on February 8th, and while this game isn't necessarily for me, a lot of people did like the first game, and I think Helldivers 2 does look better than the original. It does fit in with Sony's pivot to live service games, though I do kind of find that part to be interesting. They actually have 2 exclusive live service games that's planned to release in like a 3-day span. They later showcase Foam Stars, which releases just 2 days before Helldivers 2. I don't know if that's really a smart plan by Square Enix and Sony. I could see one or the other getting overshadowed, but I guess Foam Stars is releasing into PlayStation Plus, so hopefully that will help with that whole ordeal. But the first game that really grabbed my attention at this showcase was Stellar Blade. They revealed a lot of new gameplay, and that's always a good sign. When a studio has the confidence to showcase large snippets of gameplay, not CGI, not cutscenes, but actual raw gameplay, that's a good sign that there's an actual good game there. And I did leave impressed by Stellar Blade. It reminds me a lot of Nier Automata and Bayonetta, and personally, I think those are 2 of the absolute best action games ever made. So, I mean, if Stellar Blade can play like either one of those, then yeah, we could be in for a real treat when this game releases on April 26th. That was the big surprise here. They did finally drop its release date, and it's coming soon. So if anything else, keep an eye on this game because this could be a standout release for 2024. Speaking of standout announcements, the rumors were absolutely true. Sega announced Sonic and Shadow Generations here. This does appear to be a remaster of sorts with some Shadow stages thrown in as well, which I think makes perfect sense in this case. As I said yesterday, a big part of the Sonic 3 movie is Shadow's inclusion, so why not launch a game that includes Shadow to coincide with that movie? Better yet, Sonic Generations is a fan favorite in a series. We know it's a great game, and now Shadow fans can celebrate as well. He's actually been my favorite since first playing Adventures 2 as a kid. Absolutely adored that game on a Dreamcast. But nonetheless, you will be able to play Sonic and Shadow Generations this autumn on the platform that you prefer. It's coming to PlayStation, PC, Xbox, and yes, it's also coming to the Nintendo Switch as well. Hopefully, the Switch 2 will be on that list when all is said and done. I personally loved this announcement. Just so nostalgic seeing Shadow return once again. Sonic really has just been making waves these past few years. Not just Sonic, though, but also Silent Hill. Silent Hill is back, and they did showcase some gameplay for Silent Hill 2 Remake today, but interestingly, they still have yet to actually confirm a release date. Now, I suspect that's because it will release in the latter half of 2024. Maybe this could be a big holiday release for PlayStation. Sony themselves just earlier this year did leak that it is planned for 2024. So, if that's true, they'll probably confirm a more exact release date in a future showcase. But the big surprise here was PT2. I mean, let's not kid ourselves here. Silent Hill, The Short Message, is essentially a brand new PT style of game, and that was on full display today. Its atmosphere, the long hallways, the creepy corridors, this was just very reminiscent to the PT demo that took horror fans by storm on the PlayStation 4. This looked creepy, it looks scary, and it looks like it's at least worth a try. And that's the thing here, it is free to play right now. Yes, you can turn on your PlayStation right now and download it yourself and play it today. Now, don't expect this to be a very long experience, but for you Silent Hill fans out there, or really for you PT fans, this was such a great surprise. Just whatever you do, I'd recommend not uninstalling this game. We now know that Konami is a little weird about this stuff, but I will tell you this much right now. It was a good day for Sonic fans, it was a good day for Shadow fans, and yes, it was a great day for fans of Silent Hill and PT. I'd also say that this was a pretty good day for you BioShock fans out there. Ken Levine, the creator of BioShock, revealed some more gameplay of his quote-unquote new IP, Judas, and it's hard not to notice the resemblance between the two. The gameplay, the art style, the world, and just absolutely everything is beyond similar when it comes to these games. You can't get much more BioShock than this, to the point that I think we can pretty much officially call Judas a spiritual successor now. This is not just a new IP. This is pretty much BioShock 4. Now, I know 2K already announced BioShock 4 is in development, so you know what? You fans out there are getting 2 BioShock 4s. Just one as a subtitle named Judas. Let's kind of approach it that way. They still haven't given us a release date, though, so I will give you an update on that as soon as we get more information. They did previously say that they're targeting release by March of 2025, so realistically, this could be a late 2024 game or maybe early 2025. We'll see about all that, but, you know, I know a lot of people out there are going to be really excited after seeing some of its gameplay today. It did look very, very good. Let's go and talk about some of those PlayStation exclusives, though. Their relationship with the Genshin Impact studio, Hoyoverse, continues to absolutely blossom. They confirmed yet again that they have another game in development for the PS5, being Zenless Zone Zero. Now, this is another PC and mobile game. You may have actually seen this elsewhere before, but as we've seen from Hoyoverse in the past, their games really scale to all platforms very, very well. They do feel good as console games, and they claim that Zenless Zone Zero will be empowered by the cutting-edge visuals that the PS5 has to offer. Now, this is a very different game compared to Genshin Impact, though, but I do like the art style, and I like the fact that PlayStation is trying to bolster these relationships with different studios across the world. We're really starting to see a lot of quality games come out of places like Korea, or in this case, China. And Sony is one of the first publishers to really recognize this. Having both Stellar Blade and ZZZ as a part of their showcase really goes to show you their eye for talent. So kudos to them for securing yet another deal with Hoyoverse. They also, of course, secured another partnership with Team Ninja on what might be their biggest game yet, Rise of the Ronin. They did reveal some new gameplay today, and I think this was actually its best showing yet. I previously was not sold on this game, but after seeing its combat today, I left a lot more impressed. At first, Rise of the Ronin kind of reminded me a lot of Assassin's Creed with its open world environment, but now after seeing a more in-depth look at its gameplay, it does remind me a little bit more of maybe Sekiro. This could be another Souls-like from Team Ninja. There does seem to be a lot of reliance on pairing, which we've seen them do this before. Team Ninja does a good job with the Souls-like experience. They've already proven that with Neo and Wolong Fallen Dynasty. I have kind of noticed, though, that some people seem a little disappointed by its visuals. Rise of the Ronin is not necessarily some technical masterpiece, but I do think its gameplay is promising, if anything else. Again, Team Ninja's reputation speaks for itself. They might not necessarily make the best looking games in the world, but they do know how to make good, fun games, and hopefully Rise of the Ronin will prove that once again when it releases on March 22nd. The rumor that Until Dawn is heading over to the PS5 and PC also turned out to be true. They officially announced today that they rebuilt it using Unreal Engine 5 and that it will come included with new and improved animations. I mean, this is a very movie-like experience, and it's going to pop a lot more with this remaster/remake or whatever they're going to call it. It looks pretty good from a visual standpoint, whatever the case may be. This also does coincide with them making a movie based on Until Dawn. This is something that we are starting to see a lot more from Sony. They are doing a lot of game-to-movie adaptations, and they are releasing remasters alongside those adaptations. Look at something like the Last of Us series as an example. We're also hearing rumors that they're doing something similar with Twisted Metal. So I think that's probably the reason that they're bringing back Until Dawn, but at the same time, I do like the fact that Sony is starting to look at their back catalog of PlayStation 4 games. To me, this brings hope that we could get some other PS4 games like Bloodborne. Maybe you could get a remaster and maybe even come over to PC. Also, what about PS4 games like Shadow of the Colossus, The Last Guardian, or even Gravity Rush 2? Speaking of movie adaptations, they are working on a Gravity Rush project, so, I'm just kind of saying a PC and remaster port might make some sense for Gravity Rush. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. But yes, Until Dawn is set to release later this year for the PS5 and PC. The last game that we need to talk about, though, or I guess actually two, is Death Stranding 2 and a new mysterious Hideo Kojima project. More on that here in just a second. That's pretty exciting stuff. But this is how they ended the showcase. They had a lengthy segment for Hideo Kojima, and he did reveal some new gameplay for Death Stranding 2. He did reveal some new and maybe even strange ideas. That's pretty typical when it comes to him. There is this now bizarre puppet-like creature that you carry around, and I mean, the cinematics are absolutely amazing in this game. Like, I was already at the edge of my seat just listening to some of the small snippets of story that he showed. I think the storytelling for Death Stranding 2 is going to be great, like fantastic in the sequel. The delivery, just the phenomenal acting, the great facial animation, just everything. I am expecting the story to be amazing for the sequel. I mean, sure, it's also going to be strange and unique, but if anything else, Hideo Kojima has created a fascinating world, and there's a lot of story that he can tell here in the sequel. The gameplay, though, I was a little surprised by this because it seems like it's actually more of the same. I thought that he might try something different in Death Stranding 2. And okay, there might be some new twists along the way. There might be some new enemies and maybe even a little bit more combat this time around. But Death Stranding 2 very much does seem to be very similar to the first game, and that was what was so divisive in the first place. I'll be interested to see other people's reactions to this game and its gameplay, but I'll tell you this much. Again, the cinematics, they look amazing, and so too does the environments. He showcased some jaw-dropping locations. Like this is one of the best-looking games that we've seen thus far, or at least in terms of its environment. Unfortunately, though, Death Stranding 2 is set for 2025. I kind of expected that. I mentioned as much yesterday, but, seeing it today, I was kind of hoping that it would be 2024. Here's the thing, though. Kojima and Sony also announced a new partnership for his next game, which is going to be another espionage style of game. So he will be going back to his roots with another Metal Gear Solid type of game, which is incredibly, incredibly exciting for longtime fans. That is one of my all-time favorite franchises ever made, and to hear that Kojima is going back to that style of game, yeah, I think that is incredibly, incredibly exciting. But the only thing about this announcement is, don't expect this game anytime soon. We're probably talking about a game that's planned for like 2030 or even beyond. This will be a PlayStation 6 game. It's going to be a long time, but it will be an exclusive PlayStation game, and it sounds like this will be tied to a movie partnership as well. It sounded like that was one of the main reasons that he decided to partner up with Sony, because they do have movie expertise. Either which way, though, there's going to be plenty of Kojima to look forward to over the next decade, which to me, I think that that's great news. We will have Death Stranding 2. There's also OD, his new horror game with Xbox, and apparently also the return of Kojima to his roots with a new espionage style of game. I think that's pretty exciting. And overall, I just really like this showcase by PlayStation. I personally thought they did a good job. I think they answered a lot of questions for 2024. They also showed a few games that were a little further out. I don't mind that personally. I think it's exciting to see some of these games a little early. But as I like to do, I wanted to hear y'all's opinions as well. So I asked you all, and here was the results. I asked you all to give this showcase a letter grade, and the majority of you gave it a C. I'd probably give it a B+ myself. I liked a lot of what I saw today, but that's how you all felt, so no arguments here. Anyways, though, that's it for this episode, but we will be back tomorrow with some more fun news to talk about. So until next time, peace out.